Hello, everyone. Welcome to Investing Possibility Conscious Community. Thank you all for being here, the ones that are here present and the ones that are on replay. We are going to be talking about trusts, wills, estates, and everything in between spiritual, biblical, in this reality, right? So I just want to thank everyone for being here. Thank you guys for the donations. Thank you for the comments. I do this community for you guys. I've already experienced the knowledge. I've already done the research, and I want you guys to do the research for yourselves. I know there's a lot of new people that are jumping on board, so sometimes you'll hear me repeat myself in a couple times, and just remember there's new ears that we have here. So I just want to let everybody know a little bit more about what we're going to be talking about today. In our other videos, we go in depth in different sections in about trusts and wills and metaphysicals. So in this different quantum realm, those are other videos that you can see on my YouTube channel, Investing Possibility, which you're watching right now, and also on the Zoom. I do the Zoom calls and then I put them on YouTube, and that's what the replays you guys are watching now. So if you guys have any questions, you guys can DM me on Investing Possibility and on Instagram and follow me that way. All my credentials are down underneath. So if you guys want to donate, there's donation links. If you guys want to leave comments or find me or DM me, follow me on Instagram and DM me and I'll get back to you guys. I also want to let you guys know we created an amazing Telegram group, and we're accepting people who want to learn this information and want to go on this journey with Investing Possibility Conscious Community and listen to what we have to say and understand this system, understand your subconscious mind, understand trust law, contract law, case law. I'm collecting a whole bunch of community, a whole like-minded minds in the Telegram group. Not only am I there, but my community is there. They're coming, they're uniting, they're there to help you guys. We are there to help you guys connect the dots. We're also here to connect the resources. We read a lot of books, we share a lot of information. So I couldn't thank you guys enough for being here and wanting to step in your power and stand in business, because as you guys know, our power was taken away from us unknowingly, under duress, under gaslighting us, because the government gaslights us and we believe them, but they're toxic. And now what are you going to do? You're now consciously aware that they're doing this. So now you can take a step in an action to revoke their contracts and also create your own contracts. You now have the rights, God-given right, always have, but you're just becoming conscious of your rights. Now that you know your rights, your God-given rights, you can now stand up for those rights. And the power has been given back to the people. For those who don't know, for the old vets of us who have been studying in the trenches for a long time, we know this. And for the new people that are here, yes, your rights have been trampled on. Your signature creates, you're going to learn a lot of information. Your signature creates the promissory note. It creates the negotiable instruments. It creates security agreements. It creates trusts. Your word is your bond. I go a lot more in the other videos into those. So if you guys want to watch those videos, we talk more about that. I want to start by thanking you guys for being here to be prepared to, expand consciousness. And thank you all. So again, I have Jay here. We're going to put in the study guide in the chat, and anybody who joins our Telegram group, again, DM me and I'll be able to add you guys to the group by getting your Telegram name. And we have a whole community over there. Everybody's sharing a lot of knowledgeable information. And I want to let you guys know that also Minister is going to be going private, so he can't even come and talk to everybody, right, about financial instruments and stuff. And that's the position we want to get into. We want to get into the private part where we don't share our business, right? Because it's none of their business. And this is the level that we're all coming to. and understanding private versus public. So I just want to thank Minister for, helping shed the light and shed the path. And we're all going to be in a community together. We're all going to be sharing our journey and how to do certain steps in a certain way. But back to Jay, we put in the chat a guide of what we're going to be talking about and sharing more on. And I would like to introduce you to a teammate. His name is Jay Nice on Instagram. I love him. Me and him have been studying side by side for a long time. We are going to be bringing more people to the table to help share knowledge and their point of view, because everybody's got a great story and we all talk knowledge. So I would love to introduce you guys to Jay Nice.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Jay Nice. I've been learning a lot in this past couple of years and trying to awaken my mind in the process and kind of get with like-minded people. And I just want to thank God for this opportunity and every day to wake up and be able to acknowledge this knowledge, because the wealth is the knowledge. And I actually want to open up with scripture. I want to go over Proverbs 13, chapter 13, verse 22. The righteous leave an inheritance. A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, but a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. So our purpose in this world is we're here on temporary time and everything is God's, and we're just using it temporarily. And ultimately, He gave us the land, He gave us the dirt and everything that's included as well. So we're able to create a covenant with Him and create wills and testaments to be able to pass on, because we're not just designed to just come here into this world and then just kind of just leave it there at default and let the government, the state, take control through probate courts. And we want to teach you guys how to operate in the private, but yet still be able to work in the public and still protect your assets and protect your people and your family. We've gone so far away from getting away from the religion or from our spiritual needs, that we follow man. And then Matthew 6:24 states you can't serve two masters. You despise the one and like the other, and vice versa. So in a sense, like, to me, I rather honor my God and than to honor the state and what they're claiming their authority over us. And that's why we must create wills and estates and trusts to protect ourselves and our assets from the government. And when we establish those trusts, we no longer relying on the court to disperse those assets or to determine how they get dispersed as well. So it's just like, if we thought of a well thought out plan and we create it from the beginning, as we get consciousness and as we gain education and understanding, then we awaken, and then we get to open our minds and be like, what do we want in our life? What is our intent and purpose? And our intent and purpose is to serve God, but through Him, we're vessels through God. So we act as a special vehicle, as a person, because our person, ourself, is not like the spirit. We have a life tenant, which is us holding the life estate, and we must declare that through decrees of laws, declarations. You can either do it in private or you could actually have it recorded, but in a sense that we need to assert our rights, because equity doesn't aid a volunteer and not one who slumbers on their rights. So we must assert what are God-given rights and that cannot be taken. And when we don't assert it, then equity doesn't aid a volunteer. So we must be able to assert it through wills and trust and not be caught up on what the government thinks they have authority over us. And that kind of goes with the court aspect as well, where like we're challenging jurisdiction and we questioning their authority. What authority do they have? They don't have any authority, and we presume to give them authority by joining their, whether it's through our license or our birth certificates, And we must make that separation, sever that separation, and break chains and break from bondage and slavery, because we no longer are, we're still slaves in a sense. They just changed the name to US citizens. So in a sense that if we consider ourselves US citizens, then we're essentially like consider an agent for the federal government or working for them. And that's what presumes them to give us authority to speak over us or to give us statutes and laws. But if you, in all reality, like divine law is the highest law, universal law, God's law, and nothing supersedes that. And once we understand that and we break free of chains, then we understand that God gave us everything. He gave us the land. He gave us the opportunity to build on the land. And we, the people, created the government so they can help build the land with a centralized government, but they went and took over too much power by trying to essentially control everything in every aspect and create statutes that violate God's law. And we have inalienable rights or unalienable rights, however you want to pronounce it. And those powers can never be taken away from us unless we voluntarily give them up. And we must assert them every day, and we just must act in honor. And so I just kind of want to go over wills and estates, wills and testaments, and a trust as well. We must know the different parties. Like in a trust, you have a trustee, beneficiary, and a grantor. The grantor, this also named the settler, and the trustor is the one essentially that creates the trust and actually puts all the assets, whether tangible or intangible, into the trust for the benefit of the beneficiary. They're the benefactor, so they benefit from whatever, for right to use of whatever assets that are put into the trust. And the grantor settler is the one that essentially creates terms and conditions for the use for the beneficiary. And when we must understand that we create the trust, we create our own laws, our own bylaws, our own rules. There's no one who could give us or definition or give us authority over our trust besides God. God gives us, he's the grantor of our life, our testament. So that's why you have the Old Testament and the New Testament. It's God's will. So God's will was to give us the land because he created us from the dirt, and it's our to kind of claim that land, and we've been abandoning it our whole lives. And since in this journey, we've been awakened to take over back the land and claim our inheritance. So that's why we like to speak on the will and testament and how we could introduce, or how could we enlighten everybody else and take back their freedom. So in the estate, will and testament, we have what you call it, executor, executrix. Executor is a man, a male, and executrix is a female version of someone who delegates the will, to say. So it's for the benefit of the beneficiary. And you also have a life estate, which you could create a state while you're still alive. And then you also have a decedent estate. So basically when you die, you essentially, whatever your assets, it goes to probate and the courts decide how the assets get distributed. But you also have a tax liability, and then you also have the greedy government trying to take whatever they could take from us in the process as well. So why should we let something that we worked so hard our whole life to either get property, whether it's real estates or assets, bonds, crypto, why should we just let it go to the government and let them distribute it when we could simply do that when we're competent enough to be able to establish that on our own? And if you have like 2 or 3 kids, or maybe you don't trust the kids and how they're going to handle it, you could establish it where they still hold the assets, but they can never sell it. And that's where a trust comes in, because you come into specific terms and specific bylaws to kind of prevent greedy kids or greedy inheritance from just wasting away everything that you have worked for. Because the whole purpose of the trust is to continue to pass on our goods and our assets through generations of families, and that's God's will, and is our will as well, because we're all a vessel for God, and we must continue to pass on the good of God. So I want to kind of go into
Hey Jay, real quick, sorry to cut you off. There's some people in the waiting room. They just called.
oh yeah, I got it. Yeah, I wasn't looking at my screen, so it was a little hard to see. So upon death, you essentially have a testator estate. So I mean, you have a will and estate, but we must establish who gets the estate, and we also are able to create a life estate as well. So just because we're not dead doesn't mean we can't create a will or will and testament, because God gave us a covenant, and we must make a covenant with our families, with our nations, because they're essentially our nations. We weren't given a first and last name. We were given a name, and our surname, aka our last name, is what the legal entity is presumed to have, is our nation, is our family name. And we must protect our family and continue to pass on our generational wealth, whether it's knowledge or assets, and we must continue to distribute the property, intangible or tangible, afterlife. And as the life estate, we're able to enjoy the property while we live in, but then it kind of pours over into a trust. If you establish your trust in your estate properly, a pull over clause would go over to the trust, and then it will be established, or it will be distributed by the executor or the trustee of the trust. And that's why we must understand what are these positions, these roles, and how we're able to wear different hats in certain positions, like you had grantor and non-grantor trust. And the best way to be able to pass on our assets is through trust. And there's many different trusts, whether it's revocable, where we're able to put things in and out of the trust, but then you have also irrevocable trust, where it has more asset protection, it has more security. So we must determine how we're going to establish these trusts, how we're going to structure these trusts to protect our assets from the government or from anybody that's trying to sue us. And the whole idea is to own nothing and control everything. So why own anything if whoever owns it holds liability? And to me, I'd rather not have liability, but I'd rather keep my assets protected and put the liability to the trustee, which essentially has the liability, whoever runs the trust or manages the trust. So we as people, we must learn that we don't really need attorneys to be able to create a will and estate, to create a trust, because not only are we capable, but we must understand this, because we'll be able to understand how to manage the trust, how to protect the trust, how to communicate with our families, so we could build a legit trust and an estate. So, I mean, I kind of went off a little bit there. I don't know, want to pass it back up to you, Tara.
No, I love it. I love it. I love what you're teaching them, and I love that they're grasping it. And I just want to go off on and explain more of the positions. When you guys know how a trust works, you're going to see trust is in everything. You're going to see trust when you go out to the bar. You're going to see trust when you go to the bank. You're going to see trust when you're talking to your friend. There's different types of trust that we have. We have implied trust, where we speak, and that's a trust. The express trust is what you write down. And there's different types of trust. There's pure land trust. There's all types of trust, and it happens every day in our lives. We're just unaware of it, right? We're not conscious of it, but now we're becoming conscious of it. And I'm going to keep repeating myself. You guys who are you waking up to be? Are you waking up being unaware, non-player character, or are you going to be the beneficiary? Are you going to be the grantor? Are you going to be the trustee? Who are you going to be for the day? And this is what I want you guys to wake up so you guys can understand that trust happens all the time. It happens in the courts. It happens when you deal with a police officer. It happens when you deal with your bills, your mortgage, your vehicle. That's all trust. And you guys are just signing terms and conditions with a signature that's already been paid for. Everything's already been paid for. Utility bills are paid for. You're not accepting it for value. You don't understand that the dynamics of it. And when you start to see the dynamics of it, the game changes. Now you know the rules. Now you can govern yourself accordingly and create. Who are you creating for? Are you creating for yourself and being greedy? There's trust for you like that. Are you being humanitarian? Are you leaving it in your lineage? What are you creating? You guys all have that capability of creating. Do you want to go work for the man? Go work for the man. You want to slave for the man? You have that free will. And this is what me and Jay want to get through to a lot of people that are unaware about this, is it's all around us. The will of God is all around us. You have that opportunity. You have that will to go do whatever it is. You want to go do work for the man and pay taxes? You actually have that option, and we're doing it. We've done it, right? We now know that that is a scam and that's not the right way to do things. Now, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to sit around and keep creating negative trust? Or are you going to create positive trust? Because when you become conscious about all of this, it's private, it's your business, and you get to protect that. Your ideas, your intellectual thoughts is your property. It is not anybody else's property. You created that thought. How are you protecting it? How are you trademarking it, copywriting it? So we want to get you guys in the understanding of all of this and all the different types of trusts. When you know who you are and you are more awakened, the ecclesiastical, the emissary trusts, 508, 504, 509, I want you guys to do your own due diligence. And if what I'm saying sounds like mumbo jumbo, it's because you guys need to go into study mode and understand this, because I don't have a template to give you guys. I don't have a structured way to figure it out for everybody. Every situation is different. Some people want to go the state national way. Some people want to go they can go any way they want, right? They can go private way, they can go public way. The way that I'm helping you guys understand this knowledge is the way that I'm doing it with my community. And if you guys want to jump on a board, I would love to help you guys along the way. And you guys have to learn how to do this for yourselves so you can help your family, so you can help your generation, so you can help your community. I do this for you guys to share with you guys because it's a lot of knowledge that I've consumed. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have consumed a lot of knowledge and know that something's not right. And again, the power has been given back to the people. And you guys got to study codes. You guys got to study the law, study universal law, karmic law, trust law, contract law, constitutional. And because these are your articles of agreement. The Bill of Rights is a trust. People talk about the Constitution. It's a trust. It's the articles. It's the operating articles of the Constitution. So get to know what you're looking at. Study the etymology. Etymology.com breaks down words, law dictionaries, the Bible. Look at
we should be studying like every single word. And even if you think you know the word, look into a legal dictionary like Black's Law or Bouvier's. Even if you 100%, I know exactly what this means. I sometimes go back and like, what exactly does this mean again? And it's just like every time. It's almost like reading the Bible. Like once you read it 3 or 4 times, you start to get something that hits, that relates, and just like, oh wow, this like I got a new meaning off of the same scripture, and I read it 4 or 5 times, and you just get awakening from each time you're reading it and absorbing it. And we need to understand each definition, each word, why we're doing things, And we just need to break that barrier and a mindset that everything that we were taught, because we were taught to be enslaved. We were taught in a school system where it's designed to be workers, and we're not designed to be workers. God didn't create us to be workers. He created us to create a community, to build. He created us to create. So it's just like, why are we working for other people? We're not serving other men. We got to serve ourselves so we could work, we could barter. We're not creating income. We're bartering services. We got so far away from religion where, like, instead of creating a garden and we have some vegetables that we could exchange for, whether it's gold or silver, or if it's some kind of metal or some kind of material as well. But it's just like, we must not stay focused on what could we do to produce money. This is what could we bring of value that we could share, that we could barter, because we don't really necessarily need a government. We could work off our communities, whether we're structured based, like I could have a farm because I'm in Pennsylvania, but there's certain things that I can't get in Pennsylvania that I could get, that you guys could get in Florida, or whether it's California and other states. And it's just like, we should be able to communicate with each other and barter services, whether I teach you how to create your own trust and you could create a website for me. It's just like, we shouldn't be selling things to each other. We should be bartering and learning how to manage our assets and creating a private ledger. And it's just about administrating your trust. And that's another thing that we need to understand, is how to do a private administration and a public administration. There's private and public is going in the recorder of deeds and be able to record public notices and stuff like that. Then there's private ways to do it, where you have two witnesses. When two or more are present, God is present. So you also have the different way of doing a non-UCC, which is a private way of a notice. Back in the days, they used to do newspaper, where they'll take a birth certificate and claim that it was a bandit. They'll put it in a newspaper for like 2 or 3 weeks, and that's how they claimed the legal estate, or the legal entity, which is essentially your juridical person, which is your straw man. So we need to make that separation through our declarations as well, and then make our ecclesiastical depots as well, and make declaration in the public if you have to. If you get in some kind of authority trying to overcome into your trust, then they're trespassing. So we also have to learn how to enforce that. If you have a trust, you're not just holding a trust just for paperwork, and we have to be able to enforce it. So if somebody trespasses on your trust, then we need to be able to go to court and file a tort claim. They have no authority to come to the trust or touch or use trust property, like your signature for, like Tara was saying. Like, we had to be able to make legal titles, equitable titles. Our legal titles is our conveyance. Our equitable titles is what the beneficiary holds, the right to use of a property or asset. Like, say for instance, a real estate. So I could have a house and I have legal title because I'm the trustee, but then my daughter has an equitable title. I happen to move somewhere else, then my daughter has free range to the property, but she cannot sell the property, but she has free range of use to the property. So that's the difference. You have control of everything as a trustee, but the government is acting as the beneficiary and treating us as a trustee, in the sense that they're taking all of our benefits that God gave to us, because he created covenant to us in Genesis. He gave us dominion over the earth. So now we gave the people gave the government the right to build on the earth, on the land, and now they're stripping us of our rights and gaslighting us to privileges like licenses, gun licenses, whether it's fishing. Like, don't you like think like, wait a minute, like, don't I have a right to bear arms, but then I have to go get a license? Like, how's that make any sense? So it's just like, why do I need to get a fishing license to go fish? Like, it's part of the world. Like, how are they able to tax us? And it's just like, they've been sneakily like creating joinder by taking the straw man or creating a legal entity, essentially a sole prop, a corporation under our name, and creating joinder and issuing privileges and removing our rights. Murdoch versus Pennsylvania, they can't issue they can't take a privilege for something that's a right. And we have unalienable rights, and we have a Fifth Amendment right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. If they're infringing our pursuit of happiness, don't you have a right to sue then? Yeah, if I'm trying to fish and you're telling me I have to get a license, that's violating my pursuit of happiness, so, and our liberty. So it's just like, how can we have to start thinking like, how are they able to create a license? And it's basically the United States is a corporation. What is it? 28 USC 3002, whereas as a business, and then you have UCC 9-201, which is also states the United States is a business as well, and we're operating commercially, and we need to learn how to operate privately so we're not getting taxed. And we need to take our power back, and the way to take our power back is to enlighten one another. The wealth is the knowledge, so it's just like we must spread this knowledge. We're not taught to be greedy, and we need to be able to share and grow with each other and grow communities. So it's just like it's our time to take our power back, and the way is by teaching you guys and learning the process and growing a community and be able to fight back as a people. And that's, I mean, for amendment right, yeah, you already know, like they're seizing our rights. And then you have to understand that even intangible property like parental rights, they're seizing that. They're constantly taking our kids and determining how we could take care of our kids. And it's just like, who and how are they even gaining this right? And it's just like, we're starting to lose power because we're getting a bigger centralized government. And that's not what it wasn't our God gave us to design this earth to be. We need to bring heaven down on earth. And this doesn't seem heavenly. This is very secular, and legal is secular. And I rather go with the lawful way of things and the divine law. And my God, it has authority over all, and they can't tell me anything. And you just got to stand on business, but you can't stand on business if you don't understand it. You have to understand it. You have to get a full awakening. Are you going to take the red pill or the blue pill? And it's just like, we got to wake up and we got to teach each other. We got to stop being selfish too. Like, we got to stop being greedy with what we have and share the knowledge. We can't gatekeep as well. It's just like, we got to grow together as a community. And it's just, we got to stick together. And that's the whole purpose of them separating, creating Black Lives Matter, black versus white. Like, Bible don't talk about race or color. It's just like, at the end of the day, when we pass away, what we have, we're always going to be bones. You know what I mean? Our soul is not going to evaporate. It's going to evaporate, but it's never we're not going to be diminished. Our spirit will always be there. Our energy will continue to float around, and we can never be diminished. Only the body, the person, the light tenant. So it's just like, we need to make that separation and know that God gave us rights. He gave us all of that. And we just need to be able to understand it, learn it, be able to assert it, and stand on it. God is good all the time.
Yep. I love it, Jay. I love it. Me and Jay go for hours sometimes. And we're like, hey, was that 10 minutes? And we're like, no, that was like 3 hours. Like, I love that, we're going to be building this community for you guys. Minister just actually shared with the group a file. I'm not sure exactly what it is. And, but I think I know it's the ecclesiastical deed poll. And that's like your first step, and your name petition, changing that. And yes, thank you, Jay. And, changing your name, correcting your name. It's a name petition. You do it with your state. When you guys follow the Telegram group, we're going to be sharing all of that information and steps with you guys. We're going to be creating basically what the steps that we've taken, and we're going to be sharing with you guys the steps that we're taking. So we're going to be creating that and sharing with you guys. And I'm so excited that all of you guys are here. I'm going to keep saying that because I love that, Jay is here helping me build this community. Like, I just had a thought, right? I had a thought, and I bounced it off of Jay, and everybody that could hear it, heard it, and Jay heard it. And he's like, yeah, let's do this. Yep, let's do this. I was like, all right, I got you by my side. I got you on my team. Like, and I'm so excited to like introduce you guys to him because he's like totally like the soundboard of all of this. So I couldn't have done it without you, Jay. Like, I love you. Thank you. You always showing me love. You're always showing me, things I didn't see. I know, right? Things I couldn't see, and I share a lot with you, things you couldn't see. And, this is just basically our ride of like what we've bounced off of each other and figured out and created groups. Jay comes from different groups. I come from the same, different groups, and we just collab. And this is like the birthing of all of that, right? And, I have full faith and credit and trust in Jay. And you can sign that on the dotted line, and you can trust that. Like, this is why we're making the YouTube Zoom call videos, because we're leaving a legacy, and we're stepping out of the minority, right? And becoming age of majority. And we're going to govern ourselves. I'm going to show up for you guys. I showed up every day for you guys. You guys know who you are. You guys are in the DMs and in the Telegram groups. And, I reach out to all of you and I answer you guys all. And you guys, I couldn't do it without you guys. Your questions make me want to go find the answers if I don't already know the answers, right? And I always tell you guys, I'll find the answer, it's out there, and I love helping you guys. I love helping you guys help yourselves, right? Because I know that you guys are going to go help other people, and you're going to go help your family, and you're going to go help your community, and we're going to talk more about like crypto in the future. I'm going to have some crypto people on. So a lot of people that don't know about crypto will know about cryptocurrency. Everything's already being digitized. Like when you look at your bank account now, what do you look at? Do you look at a picture of a money in a vault on your phone? Do they send you screenshots of like your precious money sitting in the bank? No, they don't. They send you digits on a ledger. And what you're looking at is a ledger. And you're looking at credits that are owed to you, special interest that's owed to you. But since we don't know this, we let the banks go make the money on the back end, right? So by coming and learning who you are now age of majority, and you are allowed to be in honor, right? You got to be in honor, and now you have authority over your inheritance. Like in Galatians 4-31, it explains there's a trustee and guardian over your estate. Even though you're of minor age, you still have this estate until you become age of a majority and you come to Father, Abba, and you come to me, and only through me can you get your inheritance, which is the kingdom of God, right? Because like Jay said, we're bringing heaven down to earth. We know who we are. We don't need anybody else to tell us who we are. Even our ego tries to tell us who we are, right? You just got to push it off. Like, I'm not going to listen to my ego. Your ego's there to help you bounce off so you can elevate, right? And when you guys understand that light is information, is data, then you'll understand what the void is. The void is noise, darkness, negative energy, negative vibrations. When you start to see what light is, high vibrations, higher frequencies, light, data, knowledge. And that's what we're consuming. We're consuming the light. We are the light. We are the carrier of all this knowledge and information. And what we're doing is we are remembering. We're remembering all of this, right? Because we always have the answers inside of us. If you don't meditate, ground, fast, do breath work, this is a spiritual journey. Not only is this about trust, this is a trust to yourself, right? Because you have a trust with yourself. You don't even know it. Like your subconscious, your conscious mind, like who's the beneficiary? The body, right? Who's the controller, right? Who's signing off on everything? Your subconscious mind. So what are you programming your subconscious mind with? Are you programming it with bad things, not healthy things? Or are you programming it with healthy things? Are you changing a meal? Are you fasting? Are you taking that 10 minutes to ground? If you can't do 10 minutes to ground, do 30 minutes, okay? If you can't do 10, do 30. And you'll get the benefits of what Mother Nature, because we're going back to natural law. When it says Christ consciousness, it's an awareness. Like, we're not being dumbed down anymore, you know, and I don't want to sprinkle sugar over bullshit, right? Like, I don't want to give it to you like that. I want to like tell you, like, this is shit and this is sprinkles. Don't mix it too, okay? Like, don't. I'm not going to do that for you guys. I don't want to sugarcoat anything for you guys. I want to let you guys know the mechanics of the system. I want you guys to look at codes, study the Bible, study etymology again, you know, go into law, study all those things, the UCC in trust units, learn about the minutes, learn the positions. You know, you can't go playing chess without knowing how to play chess. You're going to look crazy, right? Learn how the pieces move, and now you'll get a different perspective of the game, because they always show their hands. They're always showing their hands, and they tell us how to do it. Like, the system's not broken. Again, it is exactly the way it's supposed to work, which is to keep poverty, and the rich getting richer. And they get richer off of our ignorance. I just made a post the other day about how, you know, the billionaires, they make money off of our ignorance. They put fear and scarcity on the televisions and shut your TV off. Go into nature. You know, everything is being coded. Wait till 6G comes out. Everybody's like, oh, I'm so tired, I'm fatigued. Yes, because have you done a detox lately? Have you eaten some fruit? Have you sat outside without your phone? You know, because this is the only way that you guys are going to be able to understand this information. You got to quiet the monkey mind. That monkey mind doesn't shut up. You got to go inward and decode for yourself your matrix. This, you know, grounding, you go outside and pick up the nature codes. Mama Nature has so many codes for you guys. She can't wait. She can't wait for you guys. What's up, blockchain? Glad you're here. But, you know, I just want you guys to start getting in the mindset, right? Because this is all about mindset. It starts in the mind, right? Like, your thought was in your mind at one point and became what it is, right? Like, Investing Possibility Conscious Community was a thought, and here it is, birthing, you know, 6 weeks old as of today. Yay, right? Like, I'm like so proud because we're connecting so many people. And just keep sharing all the information, share it with anybody and everybody who wants this information. Like, I'm just here to help connect everybody on the right path. You guys got to understand the words and go deep within yourself and get the answers that you need. And don't gatekeep, because you're the gatekeeper. You have the keys, you know? And if you don't understand it, ask questions. We're here to help you guys. We're here to share with the group, share things, be beneficial in humanity, right? So, you know, is there anything else, Jay, you wanted to pinpoint on?
Yeah, I feel like we should give them a task, something to challenge their minds. We should start with look at your family, look at your assets. Let's make a list of all your assets, and this is your homework for the week, for next week. We'll want you to put all your assets, whether it's tangible, intangible, whatever creative ideas, your signature as well, and all that. And then also put a list of who could be possible trustees, who would you trust to manage your trust. So, and then also, do they have a basic knowledge of trust? And then if not, then you're probably gonna have to inform them and maybe get them into the class so they can get a little bit up to par and educated. And then who would you want to pass on those assets to after you're done? Do you want to pass it to another trust, another entity, or your heirs, whether it's your kids, or maybe your kids are not really responsible? Maybe you think about your niece and nephew. I wanted you like to think about who you like to pass your assets if you weren't here tomorrow. It's not something you want to think about, but it's something that we need to think about. And we need to be able to put it on paper and put all that together. And then so you need to think who the trustees will possibly be, who the beneficiaries will possibly be, and then what assets, what could you put into it? And don't say you don't have any kind of assets. You have assets. Your signature is your assets. Your thoughts, just because it's not tangible doesn't mean it's not an asset. Your creative ideas. There's so many different ways you could put it, and we just need to be able to declare it, because you need to, in order to establish a trust, you must declare it. You have to have a declaration. You have to have an intent, a purpose. You can't just create a trust. You have to have what's your intent, what's your purpose. So you don't have to give them the assets, but you could distribute a portion of the assets. How long do you want them? Do you want them to have it at 21, or maybe you think that's too soon? Like, maybe do you want them to wait to 25, and it has a recommendation of them having understanding on trust and equity? That's a requirement on my trust. So if my daughter wants any of it, they had to have some kind of understanding on trust and equity. Or I'm gonna create a course, or we should be able to create a course where they had to study it, watch it 3 or 4 times, get it signed off before they can even touch any of the assets. You create, is your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So it's just like have to be able to express it. And if you're expressing it as express trust, it has to be written down as well. So let's get started on you guys thinking of who you want to pass the assets to, what assets you have, and how you want it to be distributed after you're done. So also think of who you like to be as your executor as well. And you're the testator or the testatrix, whether you're a woman or male, and you need to determine what we like your assets to go to. And then if there's any kind of remaining assets, who's the remainder man? Basically, who gets the interest, not so much the rights. So for instance, I'll break it down an example. Say I have a daughter and a son. I want my daughter, who's more responsible, to get all the rights into the property, but the remainder would go to my son. So if I happen to pass away and my daughter passes away, then he gets the remaining of the assets after that. What are you going to do with the assets after so-and-so passes away? So it's just like, you want to, with a trust, a trust can live forever depending on how you structure your trust. So you want it to last 25, 100 years, or you want it to proceed for generations, for tens of thousands of years. You know what I mean? You have Lincoln and all those old presidents, they have trust. How you think they're able to build these structures? In their trust, they have it structured that with the certain amount of money that they're able to donate or invest in a building. And that's why you see their statutes and stuff like that in front of these buildings, because even though they've been dead for over 100 years, like, they continue to put their name, their likeness, their intangible properties, tangible properties continue on and pass it on to generations. So it's just like, I challenge you guys to think about all that stuff and put it on paper. And then maybe we'll get a questionnaire we could send you guys in the Telegram group. If you guys are not in the Telegram group, we'll send you guys a link and make sure to include you guys in it.
Yeah, and also Minister pointed out a good thing: purchase a ledger, and also start getting your bills off a paperless. And the thing is, with that, you're going to start with the ledger, you're going to start practicing assets and liabilities, right? What is a liability? What is an asset? What benefits? What subtracts from value, right? So start studying that. And also, you know, when you get your bills, your utility bills, they made us go paperless for a reason. They are all debts and credits. And when you start telling them you want a copy of it, you send me the original, opt out of the paperless. Start getting your remittance coupon sent to you guys so we can start accepting it for value. Because there's value in the pen, there's value in the paper, and we are the currency. When you start realizing that you are the currency, your pen it's powerful. Determining how you sign your name, we've been unknowingly signing our name away, signing our inheritance away. And the ignorant gets taxed. And there's no excuse for ignorance of the law. Everybody's going to learn this law. Everybody's going to learn this system. So when you start to get into repetitive every day, like, oh, let me start thinking about a trustee. Oh, let me start thinking, oh, I'm gonna make this person a trustee, but they know nothing about it. So what are you gonna put in your trust resolution? That they need to know about trust law. And what happens if they die? What is in your trust resolution? What if they become sick and ill, or what if they become a murderer? You have to have this in your trust resolution. You have to have this. If this trustee does XYZ, then they can no longer be a trustee. I have this successor trustee. You also have a protector of the trust. You also have a general manager of the trust. And when you start to becoming more into trust, you'll see that you guys are becoming aware of how trust has been in all the systems. And I love you too, Minister. Thank you for being here. We couldn't do without you, man. Literally, you're like a lifeguard, life savings. You know,
We must understand contracts as well too.
contracts.
I want to get into that, not maybe so much right now, but in a later time, because
Yeah.
we enter into contracts all the time, and like if you get mail at home, that's an offer.
It's an offer.
we must also learn how to read these contracts, because to have an attorney is so expensive. I mean, you're gonna pay what, $2,000 for him to like read over a
They
contract?
already know what it says. They don't even need to read it. They've read so many. They're like, oh, this is, yep, just sign here. And your lawyer does, they work for the bar. So they work for the same corporation that the damn bills are in. You think they're going to tell us to go get our name changed and correct our status and create a trust? Remember, corporations can only deal with corporations. Corporations are pieces of paper. And a piece of paper can only deal with a piece of paper. A trust can only deal with a trust. A trust is non-negotiable. Promissory notes are negotiable. You got to understand it's a non-negotiable instrument, because it can't be, a trust cannot be negotiated. Only what is in the resolution can be, right? Your assets can be negotiated, right? But not the trust itself. The trust is the vessel for your assets. Thank you, Minister. I'm channeling you. You know, and like, you know, ministers and has studied from Christian Walters and Divine, Patrick Divine. And, you know, I couldn't have done it without them. You know, they share their wealth of knowledge. And I just want to share you guys like the wealth of knowledge and understanding, like, we've been bamboozled our whole lives, and it's now time to, now that you know this, what are you going to do about it? You know, like, you have an option, you have will to do whatever you want.
You know, stand on business.
Yeah, like you can stand on business, or you can will it away. Like, you have that option. Let the state take care of it, and you go run taxes, or you stand up and become tax exempt.
Equity won't aid a volunteer or one who slumbers on his rights.
Yes, and it's all about maxims of equity. Study the maxims of equity. There's 12 of them. If you can't study them, right? Understand your position. You're not going to understand your position unless you understand equity. And I can only explain how equity is. I already know how it is, and I want you to know how it is. And the way that I got to understand what equity was I read and I understood what equity is. So, you know, I only want to help connect the dots. I know you probably heard the word equity, but until you read it and connect it to the Bible and etymology, then can it only make sense for you guys, you know? And I want you guys to make it make sense for you guys.
Equity essentially is what's just and what's right.
Yes.
And what I want to kind of piggyback on the contract law and kind of like talk about how my situation were me now understanding contracts and how they're implied. So I had one of those middlemen, like what was it, electric companies, were like, hey, PPL is charging you 10 cent a rate, whatever the rate is, but then we'll give you a discount. And then come to realize after a year, they lock in that term, that rate, the cheaper rate. So what they did, I signed that contract, not unknowingly that I waived my right to trial. And I didn't understand the terms and condition nor read it. So because I was just ignorant to it. So we don't realize when we sign these paperwork or these some kind of company that's going to give us a discount benefit. There's always something in the backside, and once you understand terms and conditions and know how to read them and understand it, then you can know where you get and fall into the trap. And we can't fall into the trap anymore because they're waiving our rights unknowingly, and then they able to lock us in on a rate and then be able to go up over than what the regular rate is. So it's just like, well, why did I sign this, to waive my right for some kind of temporary privilege? And it's just like, we must have understanding and break the barrier of understanding, because the word is powerful, and we not understand that on the item sonus, just because something sounds the same doesn't mean it is the same. There's multiple meanings. So it's just like, we need to understand what meaning were they trying to imply in that contract. So yeah, I just want to touch on that contract part of it.
And we can get out of any contracts. I forget the UCC code, but it's not.
We always do a notice of rescission, though.
Yeah, but you got to put them on notice. There's due process that we have to go through, and when you understand the due process, like, go study the word what due process means, right? That means those are the steps that you're going to take in order to be standing in honor, right? Because you want to discharge your mortgage, you have to be in honor, and your word has to matter, because your words are matter, right? Because your thought becomes your words, and it creates, right? Like, I want a house on the beach. Like, those are my words are going to matter. And that's what, like, manifestation comes from. And that's why they use legalese. Legalese is to confuse us, to keep us in Babylonia and Babel world, right? And Babylon has fallen. Cabal has fallen. When you study the words, like, it makes sense now. Babylon is falling. Yes, the Babel, the confusion, the veil, the legalese, we're becoming aware and conscious, like, oh, person doesn't mean what person means, right? Person means corporation. That means debt, right? People means private and credit. So when you separate we the people, and you're like, oh wait, where does that begin? Your Constitution, right? Now you know your Bill of Rights or your Article of Agreements. Now understand your rights. Like, you want to fight for the Constitution, you want to, that's your backbone to all of this. So go study what the Constitution is. Understand your amendments, understand your Bill of Rights. You know, all of this, understand all of this, because this is the backbone of the trust that was created for us to understand all of this, right? So when you start to understand, like, it's been many, many hundred thousands of years that we've been confused in all of this. Now we're becoming aware. So, and you understand that you hold all of the power, and you can create anything. You can create a person in the image of God, right? Create your foundation, create your organization, create your trust, will your trust, right? Use your words kindly. Are your words benefiting humanity? Are your words not benefiting humanity, right? So start showing up. What are the words that you say to yourself, right? Are they in trust? Because you're going to benefit from your words either way. Either you're not going to be beneficial in a good way, or be negative in a bad way, right? So start taking it into consideration, the words that you speak to yourself, the words that you speak to people, because we're going to start getting in the habit of writing out, you know, for this homework for you guys. Start writing out, like, your assets and your liabilities and your beneficiaries. Start looking into the bylaws that you want to create for your trust. You got to learn about clauses. There has to be a clause in your trust, right? Etymology is wild. Yes, it is. And when you start to understand all of the words and overstand the words, then you can now, because a trust is not complicated. A trust is so easy to create, because there's no babble in it. There's no legalese in it. It's whatever you say. You could say I could harvest elephants on my compound so the elephants can live forever, right? That could be in your bylaws. And you have to take care of that responsibility because anything that you create, you are responsible for. So how are you going to have that benefit Mother Nature? How are you going to have that benefit humanity? How are you going to have that benefit your beneficiaries? Right? Because you have that any entity that you create, you are responsible for. You created it, you need to be responsible for it. So this is why we love creating these classes for you guys to start getting the wheels start ticking, start getting you guys into the motions of the oceans, right? Because it's all about currency. We are water, we are currency, and you guys are creating the vibrations, right? You guys are creating ripple effects out into this world, whether you believe it or not. You create. You're already creating, and you are very powerful with your words and your thoughts. Start thinking more positive thoughts. Start getting in the habit of taking care of your body, of your vessel, because this is the Noah's Ark, the story of Noah's Ark, of you creating your ark and you creating this. So whatever storm comes your way, it's okay. You know it's coming. And they're flipping from monetary system into digital. So we want you guys to start getting in the habit of understanding what cryptocurrency is. Start understanding what the coins are, the altcoins. Start investing information to want to learn more information on this. I'm telling you, do not get scammed. This is not legal advice. This is not financial advice, right? This is my opinion. This is entertainment purposes only. And I highly suggest you guys start studying, you know, what cryptocurrency is, what gold and silver in the market really is, right? What financial literacy really is. Understand, if you really understood what the stock market was, it's our energy being traded on the New York Stock Exchange. Like, that makes you want to do something, right? The national debt isn't what you think it is, right? That's the money that is giving back to the people. We are getting that credit back. It's all about credit and debt, because that's all that we have is credit and debt. Money is a promissory note. It's an IOU. You know, watch Dumb and Dumber when, you know, Jim Carrey gives the briefcase back of IOUs. And he's like, yeah, it's all there. The money's all there. He wasn't lying. He's like, the money, the promise to pay you back is all there, even though he just took it from the robber who, you know, watched Dumb and Dumber. Like, it's a funny movie and it's a true movie because that's how our money system works. And like, how dumb are you not to know? You know, we were all unconscious, right? We were all unaware, and our ignorance was taxed, and we had to pay taxes, and we had to do the rat race. And now the rat race is gone. The Ferris wheel is gone. We don't have to race it anymore because we're consciously aware now. You know, and I just want, you know, all of everybody to understand, you know, the direction that this community is going, where we would like to take you guys, you know, because I have a lot of questions. Everybody's always asking, like, you know, what are your services? What are you guys doing? And I'm like, I'm just creating community for you guys. And yes, we'll be providing some books that we, you know, accumulate our knowledge. And if you guys want to purchase them, purchase them. This is going to be the process that we share with you guys. And we'll have those books coming soon, ebooks that we have actually personally take the steps, you know, and it with the community that we're creating now. A lot of people are already in our community and they're already connecting the dots and taking the actions. You know, we're going to have them on soon too. And they're going to speak with us too. And they're going to share their story and how they are no longer manipulated by the system because they took their power back. They corrected their name. They did an ecclesiastical deed poll. You know, they petitioned for their name. They got back all their, when you put it in a trust and it's your intellectual property, even though you think the state owns your property, they really don't. They're creating fraud. And you can point that out because you're becoming more on the offense, and now you don't have to defend yourself. because now they have to make a claim against your claim. And they can't, because they don't have our wet signatures. They don't have any of that. And you can revoke any contract you ever get into. And when you start to understand that, then you start to move differently. You start to sign your name with power. You know, all rights reserved. You restrict your signature, meaning you're not held liable for this. Is what all rights reserves mean, meaning this signature is restricted. Like, you don't owe the rights to the signature, I do. And you're protecting your signature with the UCC, with the all rights reserved, exempt from levy. You know, start learning these terms, start learning what a UCC is, start learning what a UCC1 and a UCC3. So just start getting all into, you know, understanding all of these words, all of these systems. Because if you understood how the birth certificate is traded on a back end system with the DTCC and it's making money, and that's why when you fill out W-4 forms, you're literally tapping into your own money for them to then have you be taxed on. So when you start understanding this, that taxes are voluntary and that you don't have to owe anything because you're not ignorant anymore, right? They only tax things that are rented, right? So like parents are rents, you rent your car from them because you registered it to the state and you told them that they could have the car. So now you gave all rights reserved to them, right? Because you didn't restrict your signature. You just signed on the dotted line. So you gave the car dealership, you gave the mortgage, you gave everything to them, the property to them to do with what they will, right? There goes that will word. They could do with what they will because you did not restrict your signature and you gave them all special interests. So they went on their back end and made a negotiable instrument on your behalf off of your trust that you unknowingly don't know that you have because you put your social security on there. When you got your social security card, it says, do not give this number away. And what did we do? We gave it to credit card companies. We gave it to mortgages. We gave it to car companies. We gave it to the people on the internet, right? Some got scams because it was a unlegit website that they gave it to, right? Now their identity got stolen, right? And now they're running up credit cards in their name. They couldn't even get a credit card when they had good credit because they didn't know. But these scammers know how to run up people's credit. And when you start to understand all of this and you open up trust with yourself, yes, this will be up on YouTube. When you start to understand your position and you're like, wow, yes, now I'm going to do something. You know, I'm going to keep knocking it in our heads. Like, we're going to do something and we're getting all of our credits back. And I'm just wanting all of you guys to do the same in creating this community. And I couldn't thank my community enough. You guys show up every day for me. I show up every day for you guys. And no matter what, like, I just love connecting with you guys. I love connecting and, you know, getting everybody on board. And if anybody ever has any questions, always ask in the comments, ask me in, you know, DMs. Ask Jay. Welcome, Jay. Everybody go say hi to Jay. Is there anything else you want to share? I want to make the class not too long. I know people got to do stuff and stuff. So is there anything else you want to share with the team?
Yeah, Minister attached the request for transcripts of the tax return.
Yes, you can get all of your transcripts on everything. You have the rights to go get any accounting done that was used with your social. Hi, Minister.
Hey, this one is specifically for requesting everything for your estate number for the last 5 years.
Okay,
So
last 5 years.
this is just focused on the estate number.
Yep.
But what I
Yeah.
was giving everybody this for is because this is the key to get your actual estate number. So remember, we creating a estate trust, but they will actually show you your master number once you get this back. So everybody should do this for sure. That's
There
how
you
you
go.
know your master numbers. Right.
Yep. We'll add that in the Telegram group. So if you guys want that and you're not here, It will be in the Telegram group, and that's how I'll send it to you guys. Yes, because once you understand what your estate is, you're gonna want to know all of the accounting that has been done, and this is gonna go back 5 years. So you guys can get your information for that. And so I'm excited that you guys are gonna be able to know how to do this. And you guys have the foundation to do this for yourselves. And I appreciate everybody who gives to the community. I appreciate everybody who shares with the community. We have a really good community. Come join. If not, that's okay. You'll see us on Instagram and Telegram group. And Jay, you have anything else? So I want to make this a little bit shorter class. You guys just got a gem right there at the end. So lucky y'all, for real.
Yeah, you guys got to remember that we're the creators, and we could create everything. We could put everything in the Bible, essentially how we were supposed to be doing it. You could create your own. They call it birth certificate. I like to call it birth naming certificate.
Yep.
So this is you're establishing the record that your child, the day of nativity, not the day of birth, because that's public. And we just need to make that separation, because everything they do in the public, we could create in the private. And we want to do that in the private because we want to make that separation and declaration.
Yeah. When you become private, you could still manage in the public. And the thing is, it already is a private trust, but they just didn't tell us about it, right? Because they didn't tell us that we were the beneficiaries. And, you know, I have a really good minister that I was going to actually quote him at the end, because it was one of his posts, and I was like, I'm going to use that as, you know, the closing.
Hey, I love that certificate, Jay. Hold that certificate up one
yeah,
more
hold
time.
this certificate.
Yeah, man.
Hey,
Yeah,
make sure
hey,
y'all get the
everybody go
premium
wish.
package.
Everybody
Make-
go wish
get the
Jay
premium
Nice,
package.
happy minister. Minister Jay Nice.
Minister Jay.
I call him Minister Jay Nice, and that's what it.
Yeah, make
Yes.
sure y'all get the full package. That's why you want to get the premium package that they were speaking about. So
Yes.
definitely listen to what everybody talking about, y'all.
Yes, Jay became a minister.
Yeah.
Jay is
That's
a
official.
minister.
He under equity now, huh? Automatically, huh?
Automatically under equity.
You got to drop knowledge on them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And what I was just gonna say, minister said, you know, when the beneficiary wakes up, game over, because they didn't tell us that we were the beneficiary of this, and we are waking up, and game over. Jay is waking up. Cody's waking up. Jim's waking up. Maritza's waking up. Tom's waking up. We are all waking up. Tammy's waking up. Tara's waking up. Right? Wake up. Do something. Take action. We are energetic beings. When we're not in motion and creation, what are you doing? Not creating, not in motion, right? Stagnant energy. What happens when it's stagnant energy? It builds up. Right? So let's break these chains. Let's do the energy work. Let's do the work. Let's do the knowledge, learn the knowledge, study the knowledge, ask questions, make it make sense for yourself. Come to the Zoom classes, watch the replays, comment, like, share, donate. I can't tell you what to do. I can only suggest, right? So I just want to thank you guys. We're going to end this recording, and I just want to thank you guys. And if you guys want to share any comments, love, like, help yourself. This community is here for you guys. And I thank everybody who's here. I thank you, everybody who's sharing. And Jay, if you want to have any last words, if not, you can end it.
No, I just want to thank you guys for showing up. You guys are definitely awakened. If you guys are here, you guys are in the pursuit of happiness, and don't be hesitant to ask God for clarity. Just praise him, thank him. And when you're reading something or you're trying to understand, just ask him for understanding. You know what I mean? Just don't lean on your own understanding. Ask him as well. So I want to thank you guys for showing up, and make sure you guys do your homework, and I'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Thank you,
Love it.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you, guys.